Roald Dahl is known to generations of children as the man that brought them magical stories like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, and James and the Giant Peach. Many people remember his stories from their childhood.
From my childhood, I remember The Witches and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Well, I definitely remember Matilda from Roald Dahl, and I also remember reading The Witches. I definitely watched the movie, but I think I read the book too.
I came to know Roald Dahl from elementary school. We read a lot of his books in class. I remember Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, and The Witches.
He invented his own words, and he wrote about fantastic places and people. By the end of the 20th century, people had bought over 35 million copies of his books. At the Roald Dahl Museum and Story Center, you can learn more about him and his world. Gemma Holland works at the center. She explains why Dahl stories are still popular today.
I think that the children still find the same things funny as they found funny 50 years ago. And I think that Roald Dahl had a really amazing way of being able to reach the children, but also be able to reach the adults that were reading with the children. So the humour isn't just for the child, but it's also for the parents or the adult reading with that child. And I think that is a massive appeal as well for everybody.
Roald Dahl's parents were Norwegian, but they had left Norway to live in Wales before Roald was born on September 13th, 1916. Dahl wrote about his childhood in his autobiography, Boy. He told many stories about being naughty at school. When he was only 9 years old, Roald's mother sent him to boarding school a long way from home. He was really homesick, and he wrote her letters almost every day. Although he was lonely and unhappy, his letters were always cheerful and full of stories. And school wasn't all bad. A chocolate company sometimes sent new candy for students to sample. This gave Roald a lifelong love of chocolate and became the inspiration for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Roald Dahl absolutely loved chocolate. And whenever he ate them, instead of just throwing the wrappers away, he actually kept them, and he would scrunch them all together to make a silver ball, and he actually kept that ball as a little souvenir on his desk next to him when he wrote.
Millions of children have heard or read the stories of Roald Dahl. But at the Roald Dahl Story Center, they encourage young people to write their own stories. Gemma explains.
I think storytelling is important because it helps to make life more interesting.
Around the museum, there are lots of things to inspire young writers. So how did writers like Dahl turn their ideas into a story?
Roald Dahl always wrote his ideas down in his ideas books that he kept with him at all times. And he actually had some ideas in his notebook for 20 years before he used them.
And Dahl always wrote in the same way.
He always wrote in his writing hut, and I'm sitting in his replica chair right now, and we're surrounded by lots of really interesting things that he kept in his writing hut.
Dahl always wrote with a pencil.
So he would sharpen 6 of them, and then he would sit down to write on his special yellow paper. Everything he did, he wrote by hand. He would write for 2 hours every morning, and then he would stop for lunch, and then he would write for 2 hours every afternoon as well.
Roald Dahl died in 1990 at the age of 74. One of the last lines he wrote was, "Those who don't believe in magic will never find it."
I think that's a lovely way to finish off his last book, basically saying that if you believe in magic, you will find it. And I think storytelling definitely helps us to keep that magic alive.